Hi everyone, it's the Assyrian priestess with you. I hope this finds you well. I am going to do a witch's oracle reading today. Just see what comes up, and if we need clarifiers, I do have the tarot here. But I thought we could just start here. So the first card out, we have the Holy Stone Protection. And I believe that is known as a hag stone. I recently read Sharon Blackie's book, Hagitude, and she talks about collecting these stones from the coast of Wales. So let me know in the comments if where you live you find this phenomenon. And with the keyword protection, the second card is Aradia with heritage. And the third card is our Wisdom Keeper. So it looks here to be definitely a reading related to you and your role as a knowledge keeper, a light bringer, or let's say a torch bearer. And what I mean by that, I don't really mean light bringer. Let's leave that language out of here, but the Holy Stone shows me that you are protected in the role you have to do. So if you ever feel doubt or like you're opening yourself up to too much energy or the wrong kind of energy, it's sort of a confirmation that you're actually very, very protected. There are a lot of ancient beings, forces, ancestors around you. I think for a lot of us, we've been practicing privately for most of our lives. And with the rise of the internet and social media, there's this kind of growing community that wants to connect and wants to learn, and more people are coming out of the closet, let's say. I think as well, you are a person that has a lot of knowledge. So Aradia was I think a medieval Italian strega. And let me know in the comments if you are Italian or know much of the Italian heritage. These are the sort of pre-Christian pagan medicine women who kept the old world knowledges. Now, a lot of us have moved on from that, and I think it's quite safe to say that, there's not any monetary value in this knowledge. But what we are learning and what we know to be true is that there is great spiritual wisdom and spiritual value in this knowledge. And you can kind of interchange the word spiritual with cultural or psychological value. So when everything gets stripped from us, and we feel like we are reduced to just economic units, learning cultural tradition and goddess stories and, different traditional lineages, heritages is the word, you actually strengthen the spirit of people, which is very important in this time. So it looks like you are one of those people, that you're actually here to help people bolster their spirit and grow their courage to face the world, I guess. Because then we have the owl with the Wisdom Keeper. So you're someone who can see through the worlds. We have the key, we have references to the goddess Ishtar, we have references to the underworld. So there's reference to Hecate here as well. You can see that the key fits into her heart, but it looks like a portal into another world. So you're sort of from this world and from the other world, let's say. And what I mean by that is you are more connected probably to ancient practices than modern ones. I think that's quite clear. And I certainly know that in the sort of wisdom, the women's mystery movement, it's certainly the case that, you know, women gather and connect to teach each other the wisdom in order to bolster our spirit, in order to strengthen our heart. When we are watching the world around us become more and more depleted. So the next card out is an interesting one, a very European image. This is Pan, the horned god, the life force of the forest. He holds two interesting symbols in his hands, a serpent on the left and a type of ring on the right. I actually don't know what that ring is, so let me know in the comments. But I know the snake, of course, is a deeply feminine image. And, you know, the horned god is the masculine element of the feminine. So, and in traditional stories and mythologies, was very much a consort to the goddess, that the goddess could not bring fertility to the land without her consort. A lot of traditions speak of this. So I'm wondering if here there is something around the masculine, followed by another masculine figure, the wizard, with the keyword spiritual impeccability and awakening. And then we have cloak in the shadow with psychism in the shadow. So it seems to me here that the masculine is awakening as well, because we end with the bell. And maybe moving from this life force, vital, virile energy, which I think in modern times this is really the focus of what men and the masculine is here to do. But then we see this wizard figure, this Merlin figure, who reminds us that, you know, the sage is also a divine masculine archetype that we have lost and are losing in this world. The wisdom of sages and, you know, the elders. And there's something about you and your work that is awakening this call for people. So not only are you awakening and calling forward the women's mysteries, you're also calling forward the masculine archetype. And you might be a masculine viewer. I'm certain that there's many of you here as well. So this returning to the old path is awakening people for modern times to be able to understand better our role and purpose on planet Earth right now. And when I say return, I read an excellent book a few years ago, and it's Karen Barrard. I believe it's called Meeting the Universe Halfway. And she is a physicist, a quantum physicist. And one of the pieces of that work that I really liked was her concept of returning. And she says returning is not like going backwards. Returning is like turning something over and over and over again. So it's a dynamic kind of spiral returning. We're turning the wheel. So we're not trying to go back to, thousands of years before Christianity and recreate that, but we're trying to return the energy for modern times. Let's read one more row. So the first card out, we have the crystal ball insight with a beautiful white barn owl. Anything else we need to know? We have the serpent power. So this is actually the union of masculine and feminine here. And there's the snake around the tree with the apple. And the apple cut into half that way is a sacred symbol. Has the star inside, and of course the seed within the fruit. And the last card out, the green man with initiation in the shadow. Yeah, okay, this is a really cool reading. I really like your energy, and I like the work that you're here doing. I do want to refer to the book for the crystal ball. Number 35. Let me move that out of frame, just to keep things simple. 35, crystal ball. Insight, vision, divination. Clear vision now creates your future. And it says here that clarity of vision can sometimes seem isolating. And that's all I'm going to read. So I kind of get the sense that if you're a feminine or a feminine energy practitioner, and you will know what that means, that you cannot do this work without the masculine energy. You probably already know that. I bet you that you do prefer your own company, because I think a lot of people on the kind of acolytes path, they prefer to study and go for walks in nature and contemplate the mystery, right? Alone. But there's a sense here of calling into community and calling into union. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the first row was very feminine images and the second was very masculine images. And they weren't, again, just a masculine in his vital force energy. It was the masculine in all of his forms, including the elder. And the elder with the word spiritual impeccability. There is something in you that knows that the divine masculine is required to rise into his role right now, because planet Earth needs us to be her custodians. And I say that because we had the horned god and the green man growth. I think anyone on a spiritual path, or the student's path, let's say, we know that we are not separate from nature and that we have a role to be caretakers. And I see that in you as well, that you don't just extract from nature, you also are very honorable about giving back. Yeah, so you might garden or be a member of a community garden, that kind of thing. Maybe you're actually homesteading or, building property, that sort of thing. But even if you're not, even if you're in a completely urban environment, don't judge yourself for, our urban lifestyles. It's maybe also about you connecting with community and bringing in these energies within yourself as well. So the Jungians will say that there is absolutely no need for union in the 3D, that all union can and is done within the person's psyche. So if you lean towards feminine mysteries, it's time to heal and unite with the masculine energy, and vice versa. And if you feel like you do really have both paths very strongly in your childhood, in your adulthood, then it is about union with the other, within or without. And this is not just a hetero fatalist speech, like it doesn't matter your gender or sexuality. Union is union, and it's for the growth of the community. Because we have another snake. We've had 3 snakes now, so that's pretty nice. And snakes are also beloved to Lilith, and so is the tree. And it's interesting here, like if you look at this Green Man card, obviously you can see the Green Man there, which was an image in Europe that's like prehistoric image that went up until medieval times, I believe. And even I think Gothic architecture has green men hidden in the work. But we have the Tree of Life here. And I know a little bit about the Tree of Life mysteries from the Assyrian school, but I once met someone online who said it's very similar to the Nordic tradition of the Tree of Life, but I know nothing about the Nordic sort of anything. I don't know anything about Scandinavian lore, but here we have some runes on a doorway, and we have the viper guarding her nest at the roots. And in the Assyrian Tree of Life story, when Ishtar finds the tree, she meets a viper guarding her nest of young, her eggs at the root of the tree. And Lilith is in this tree as well. It's the first time we meet Lilith. So pretty amazing. I really sense that your work, your path, these things that you're naturally drawn to and naturally called to and just naturally embody, obviously have been with you for lineages because your DNA is strong and ancient. But also there's a union coming for you, and it may be platonic, but it's to create community somehow and create teaching and learning. And I mean, it could be to create a child as well, because we've had 3 snakes, which is a symbol of fertility, and then we have a snake guarding her beautiful pearl. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I certainly did. It's beautiful energy. Thanks for staying, if you have, thus far, and I will leave you, as always, with my love and courage. Until we meet again, bye for now.